We've got some breaking news right before the start of NFL free agency as Montaric Brown, aka Buster Brown, has re-signed with the Jacksonville Jaguars ahead just hours before the start of the 2026 NFL free agency period, the legal tampering period, and the Jaguars get a re-signing that I felt like they desperately needed to make. We're going to break it down on today's video. This is Jags Now, presented by Chat Sports. I am your host, Cullen Brown, and listen, when the Jags make a move, we make a video. This is why you subscribe. Whether it's free agency, whether it's the draft, whether it's in the season, off season, whatever the case may be. If the Jaguars are making moves, we're going to be talking about it here on the channel. Make sure you guys subscribe for the latest Jags news and rumors. We got you covered here at Jags Now. Without any further ado, let's get into the rest of today's video. So, credit to ESPN's Adam Schefter, who was the first to break the news on Montaric Brown, saying the following. Cornerback Montaric Buster Brown is staying in Jacksonville on a 3-year, $33 million deal. It's $11 million per year. Per Jeremy Fowler and me, the 2022 seventh-round pick would have had a strong market in free agency, but didn't want to leave Jacksonville. And Cameron Wolfe, who also does really good work covering the NFL for NFL Network, said that Montaric Brown was going to have potentially a really competitive market leading into free agency, saying that he could potentially make up to $12 to $13 million a year. So the fact that Jacksonville was able to get him at $11 million per year, that's a huge win for James Gladstone, Liam Coen, Anthony Campanelli, and this entire Jaguars team because – look, I think that if you're Jacksonville, right, you obviously have the big three free agents. We're going to talk about more here later in the end of the show of Devin Lloyd, Travis Etienne, and Montaric Brown. Devin Lloyd, it was just reported by Ari, is not expected to re-sign with the Jacksonville Jaguars. His market's going to be out of Jacksonville's price range. It looks like the linebacker is going to move in a different direction that way. Travis Etienne, while they could return to Jacksonville, ultimately he is going to have other suitors, most notably the Kansas City Chiefs, the Denver Broncos, and the New Orleans Saints have been all rumored to have interest in the running back. That being said, you also have his succession plan in place with Bashal Tutin. So it seems like if the Jaguars were to get another running back, it would be a cheaper one in free agency, such as a Rashad White or such as a Sean Tucker from Tampa Bay, from Liam Cohen's days in Tampa Bay. Montaric Brown was such a key re-signing, in my opinion, mainly because at that cornerback spot, the Jaguars on the outside last year just were in disarray in terms of the outside cornerback position, in terms of Travis Hunter getting hurt, and then obviously Tyson Campbell not working out. They tried to trade for Greg Newsome to see if that would change things. That didn't work. Montaric Brown steps in, former 7th-round pick out of Arkansas, number 222 in terms of picks in that draft. There's 221 guys that were drafted ahead of him, and you saw the coverage stats on your screen. He balled out for Anthony Campanelli. He balled out for this defense, and arguably him and Jarian Jones, especially with Jordan Lewis's injury, really stepped up for the Jaguars in 2026. And I cannot say enough good things about Montaric Brown. And listen, we all love a good, 7th-round pick into starter kind of rotation. Now he gets a bag, $33 million on a 3-year deal. And I think he's earned every penny. Had 12 pass breakups last year, 2 interceptions, and really got his chance in 2024, but really shined in the 2025 NFL season. And I can't say enough good things in terms of, like, he's a zone corner who really, in my opinion, took advantage of a situation where he wasn't expected to really contribute as much as he did. And yet he stepped up over the last 2 seasons, 20 pass breakups, 3 interceptions. I mean, that's stuff that you're going to really enjoy if you're James Gladstone, if you're Liam Coen, and the entire crew, because now it gives you stability at that outside cornerback position. You have your top 4 cornerbacks essentially from last season in Travis Hunter, Montaric Brown, Jarian Jones, and Jordan Lewis all locked up. So that way, Jacksonville doesn't have to force the issue at cornerback when it comes to free agency, but also the draft. And when you think about this cornerback depth chart, you're going to have Travis Hunter be your cornerback 1. That he's going to have more of a focus. It's already been reported by Liam Coen and the guys. That is going to be the main focus for him leading into 2026. Montaric Brown, he's going to be your opposite corner at starting, at bare minimum. And he's earned that spot. And with this extension, I think he locked in that other outside starting position. Jordan Lewis, who you previously signed last offseason, he is going to be your starting nickel, with Jarian Jones as kind of your main, guy off the bench if need be. You also have Caleb Ransaw. You re-signed Christian Braswell, or tendered Christian Braswell, I should say. But Montaric Brown, the guy that, as a former 7th-round pick out of the University of Arkansas, really good in press, really good in zone coverage, just fits Anthony Campanelli's scheme and what he's trying to do at a really high level. Really smart player, can get physical if need be. I just think this makes so much sense for the Jaguars, and it's something that I didn't know if they necessarily were going to get it done. I'll be first to say it. I didn't know, especially with that report from Cameron Wolfe. I went to bed last night thinking, okay, there's a good chance that the Jaguars potentially lose out on all three of their big name free agents. Nonetheless, they get Montaric Brown re-signed before free agency even opens, which was such a key for Liam Coen, for James Gladstone, and the crew. And I just can't say enough good things about Montaric Brown. I'm happy that he got his money, and I just overall am ecstatic about where he's headed in terms of a football player. I think he's going to contribute to this Jaguars defense for years to come. And now you've got him locked up for the next 3 seasons. And before we talk about kind of the other free agents here in Jacksonville, I want to get you guys' question in terms of, how you feel about this re-signing. I want to get your one-word reaction to Montaric Brown re-signing with the Jacksonville Jaguars. Again, 3 years, $33 million. Let me know down in the comment section below. If I had to give you my one word, I would say deserved. Montaric Brown, again, in a situation not ideal, thrown into the fire, 7th-round pick. Again, you always got to be ready, next man up mentality in the NFL. Montaric Brown took the opportunity by the horns, delivered, and now he's cashing in. You can't feel but good for him and deserving that he just got this extension from Jacksonville. All right, kind of swinging things over here now to the Jaguars' rest of free agency. And obviously the big two names that everyone's going to be kind of thinking about in the back of their minds are Devin Lloyd and, Travis Etienne. So I'm going to pull up this tweet from Ari Mirov live on the show. I apologize that I'm looking down at my phone, but I want to make sure I get this quote correctly because, look, we've talked about, ad nauseum, Devin Lloyd potentially getting an extension with, either the Jaguars. So this is per Ari Mirov, or potentially, leaving elsewhere. He says the belief in Jaguars all-pro linebacker Devin Lloyd won't be back with Jacksonville in free agency due to his high price. The Panthers are among teams to watch. We've talked about it plenty of times on the show that the Carolina Panthers have been sniffing around Devin Lloyd. I think, per our Panthers Today host Tyler Smith, who does a really good job covering the Carolina Panthers, it could be a deal in upwards of 3 years, maybe $60 million. It wouldn't shock me if Devin Lloyd resets the linebacker market. I've compared him to potentially getting a deal similar to Zach Bond, a 3 years, $51 million deal. Maybe the Jaguars could finagle things with some void years and whatnot, but hearing that from Ari Mirov leads me to believe Devin Lloyd's going to be out of Jacksonville for 2026. And it's a shame because he really performed well. Obviously, he was a second-team All-Pro. It was arguably the heartbeat and soul of this Jaguars defense for 2025. And, now that you're going to have to pivot off of Devin Lloyd, do you look at a Jack Kaiser? Do you look towards the draft? Are there some, Leo Chenal free agent linebackers that the Jaguars ultimately will look to target? We'll wait and see. Travis Etienne, bit more of a question mark. It ultimately kind of depends on his market. I kind of laid it out yesterday in terms of a final contract that I'd be willing to give Travis Etienne ahead of NFL free agency. I gave him about 3 years, $27 million, about $18 million guaranteed. So, $9 million average annual value. But I don't know if he'll re-sign that, especially with this Montaric Brown re-signing. Will Jacksonville be able to compete with a Kansas City, with a Denver, with a New Orleans? Time remains to be seen, but you've got Bashal Tutin there lined up, waiting in the wings, ready to get more snaps in at a moment's notice, who had a really good rookie season in his own right. You got LaQuinn Allen. Do they bring in one of the Tampa Bay Buccaneer running backs as a free agent? Do they potentially target a Jonah Coleman, a Mike Washington in the draft? The possibilities are endless in terms of that front, but either way, we will have you covered here at Jags Now for the latest Jaguars news and rumors. Again, if you somehow just take one thing away from this video, Montaric Brown re-signing ahead of NFL free agency. Huge news, deserved. He balled out. You've got your 2 outside cornerbacks locked in for the 2026 NFL season. Huge news for Jacksonville. And again, when the Jaguars make a move, we make a video. So if you want, make sure you hit that subscribe button for the latest Jags news and rumors. And you guys know we got a little Duval roll call before we get out of here. If you love the Jags and you love this re-signing of Montaric Brown, spam Duval down in the comment section below. And until the next time, peace out.